Hello everyone, Jeff here. Welcome back to the channel. It's time to talk about some Death Must Die, and there was a new Act 4 dev update this week, and today we're going to dive into it. I'm going to do this like a TLDR video and read through the entire post real quick. If that's all you want to hear, that's cool. You can dip out then. But then after, I'm going to yap about some of interesting things that are actually in the post and what that could mean for the future of one of my favorite games. So, without wasting more time, let's just get into it real quick. Hello, everyone. It's been a long time since our last post. We're still working on the game and overhauls we mentioned previously. TLDR, we are behind schedule, but making progress and wanted to share how things are shaping up. God blessings. In terms of gameplay content, we're adding a ton, capital T-O-N, of new God blessings and item abilities. With Act 2 and Act 3, we kept adding new gods and blessings, which diluted pools and synergies. What was working with Act 1 just didn't scale well. Rerolls and alterations became a cheap solution for deeper, more fundamental issues. Now, the entire god system has been rebuilt from the ground up, slots have been removed, and instead, god blessings focus on inherent synergies rather than slot separation. Here's what we aim to solve and how it turned out. Build making and synergies. We've added both within God and cross God mechanics, with which you can either remake a tall build or combine the common mechanics of gods in many different ways. For example, Mort can harvest and store souls, while Lei Gong's blessings release powerful bursts of static electricity, and both can be empowered with status rituals from any god. Maximizing bad RNG. The cross god build making, the removal of slots, and the fact that you can now choose your god after combat should severely reduce the need for rerolls and alterations. Alongside this, we've implemented bad RNG protection. Customize your playstyle. Some people have expressed the concern that the addition of inputs would make the game too active, whilst others would like the more action expression in our game. For others, still, it may be based on a run-by-run mood. Skill upgrades allow you to dynamically adjust this and take the skill towards any playstyle or synergy direction you prefer. Skill upgrades. Now every active skill has its own upgrade tree that can be built in many different ways. For example, all active skills can be made inactive or have their playstyle reinforced. He shows some examples here. Life Drain is a channeled ability. There is a node in the Life Drain skill tree that you can make it autocast. Same thing with this Ice Tower ability, which is a new ability. And a similar thing with this Sandstorm ability, which says are just easier to cast, like removing targeting. So Sandstorm, normally it looks like it would be a targeted channel, but in this case, it loses targeting and always casts on self. Kind of cool. Synergies. You can also push skills towards more mechanical or synergistic combos and abuses instead. We love abuses. So they go back to Life Drain here. They show still channel ability, but this node over here makes it so it gains Exhaust 1. We have no idea what that does, but it's interesting. And it swaps your life with that of the target enemy instead of all other effects. So I assume if you're low life and an enemy is at high life, you could just swap your HP totals, which sounds incredibly broken, but, you know, interesting. And there's this other ability, Reaper Sickle, that slashes enemies for 600 damage, gains 40 damage for this attempt if it is killed. An enemy this combat. There's a lot of words in that. I'm going to go into that in further detail after we get through the whole post. Or make them bombastic. And they show the fireball and just like high damage numbers here. And just lots of big numbers. VFX. We've been adding a lot more spells and VFX to the game for all of this and have pushed their values to feel as powerful as possible. Because of this, we've also decided to overhaul some old VFX that we felt were lacking. Some really cool new animations here. Looks kind of great. Kind of spectacular art. And then we go to characters, animations. To support the new active skills, we've had to make a ton of new animations for each character. 32 direction animations for target channel, target walk forward, target channel walk backwards, no movement stopping even while channeling. So you've got like the smooth movement for each character. You got walking, 16 directions for dash attack. You can now attack while dashing. and just more new regular animations for target cast 2, no target cast 1, no target cast 2, no target channel forward, backwards, and this is for every single character. Kind of neat. They show this big grid of Nixie animations here for just their Nixie target channel spell, which is insane. And then the post says, why do we do this much animation? Well, I wish we'd done it earlier. We tried a couple of ways to make these skills work without having to draw all the directions, but it just didn't play well. So effectively, these tests just end up wasting time. Some cost-cutting measures end up costing us more, so we sat down and drew all the required frames. That's a way to do it. New characters. Alongside these major overhauls to the core characters, we do have 2 new characters in the making, the Necromancer and the Shaman, but we're not sure they'll make it to Act 4 or shortly after. But anyways, let's just say this is in the works and nearly done. These characters both look incredible. Big fan of dual blades, big fan of giant sword. Very nice. We have enemies, and we've got this nice layout of enemies from Act 4, new monsters, bosses, whatnot. Environment. We spent a lot of time setting up a system for the environment, which we can create mini procedural levels that this feel handcrafted and polished and have features such as height, holes, tile variety, wall matching combinations, etc. The code turned out to be a lot more complex than we anticipated because of the spec and took many months and involved solving collision, pathing, wall sorting, complex wall combinations, optimization issues, and all sorts of other matters. We are still focused on creating the endless assets needed, tiles, walls, props, etc., and progress is much slower than we would like. We will show more when we can get it to a more presentably polished state. I noticed that there's very little new terrain stuff in any of this post so far, so that's probably one of the bigger delays. Speaking of delays, because of the overscope of the aforementioned features, the experimental nature of the design, the iteration required, and life delays, we have not been able to hit our estimated deadlines on a lot of features. This has gradually led to the timeline getting longer and longer, so unfortunately, the release of Act 4 will be delayed. We'd rather not estimate once again how long this delay will take, given our terrible skills in this, but it will most likely spill into early 2027. And then they talk about expanding the team. Some people have asked us why we don't expand to tackle this problem. Their answer, we tried working with freelancers previously to speed up our timeline, but it ended up costing us a lot of time in trying to bring people up to speed on code architecture, design, visuals. Ultimately, we were fortunate enough to find the right people, and we did recently expand to 5 team members. They were 4 in-house, 3 artists and 2 programmers, and are now aligned and working cohesively. We believe this size is right for us, and we have little intent to expand further at this time. And that is the end of the post. Now, if that's all you wanted to hear, feel free to leave, drop a comment. For the algorithm's sake, I appreciate you all. But if you'd like to stick around, we've got some things to discuss. First of all, they've removed slots, which I think is a good thing. And that's going to open a lot of gameplay mechanics and a lot of freedom that's otherwise constrictive for no reason, right? It's a self-created problem. The important part here is this line. The fact that you can now choose your god after combat should severely reduce the need for rerolls and alterations. The fact that you can now choose your god after combat. I want to focus on after combat because that's really interesting. So, currently in the game, combat is always happening. The only time you're not in combat is when you're walking, when enemies are like, you've already killed all the enemies and there's no one that are close to you yet. This implies that there's going to be some type of combat phase to the game that's going to get added. There's nothing mentioned about it here and on Discord. However, it's mentioned here about the picking gods after combat. It's also mentioned down here in this Reaper Sickle ability that it gains extra damage this attempt if it killed an enemy this combat. And to further my theory on this has exhaust 1. Um, when I think of exhaust, I think of something like Slay the Spire, so that it's like exhausted for this combat, right? Um, if that's the case, I think we're looking at this being changed to a phase-based game, and it just hasn't been revealed to us yet. Because not only that, this life drain ability also gets exhaust one and has the swap effect. But that's so powerful. If that's usable frequently, then that's just incredible. You'll never die, right? So what I'm theorizing is that Death Must Die is turning into a Brotato-esque fight action RPG with last epoch style skill trees. I think that's what's happening. And I think I'm insanely excited for it. It's kind of everything I want, if I'm being so honest. I know we've had to wait forever. Like, the last update for this game was March of last year when Act 3 came out, and the last dev update we got was like November of last year. So it's been forever. But these animations are so cool. The skill tree thing, it has the potential to just be amazing. And I honestly think that format, the more I think about it, like I was trying to process in my head what I wanted to talk about after like reading through this before making the video. The more I think about it, the better it sounds. It's like a better version of like the wave-based bullet heaven type game, but it's like an action RPG. Um, without having to go through like the Path of Exile 2 like 30-hour campaign before you get to play the game, right? This sounds awesome to me. Everything that's shown is awesome. I'm super excited. You guys know I will be covering it. If you've been around with the channel for a while, Death Must Die is like my game. I'm super jazzed. I hope you all are too. Let me know in the comments what's most exciting to you. Is it one of the characters? Is it one of the spells? Is it the new skill system? Just comment for the algorithm so we get more eyes on Death Must Die itself. The devs deserve it. I know they've been slacking with communication because they're really bad at it. But, you know, I will gladly be the YouTube mouthpiece for that if need be. But anyways, that's it for today. You all have a glorious day. It's a good week, guys. I'll see you next time. If out. Bye.